My name is Diego Nunez. I'm one of the associate attorneys at Walker Gates Vela. And one of the things that I do most is immigration bonds. And that is something that we're going to talk to Chito Vela today. And Chito, why don't you introduce yourself and give us a little bit of your background?
Thanks, Diego. I'm Chito Vela. I'm one of the partners here at Walker Gates Vela, and I have also been doing immigration bonds and criminal cases for, about the last 10, 12 years or so, and enjoy it. Have been able to help a lot of people. It's a very important and critical part of the immigration process is getting released from detention.
Well, and why is an immigration bond getting out from immigration detention? Why is it so important?
Well, for many reasons. Obviously, no one wants to be in jail. Everybody wants to get out. They want to be with their family, with their friends. They want to get back to work, get back to their life. But one of the other reasons is that it's almost impossible to win your case when you're detained in immigration detention. Very, very difficult to get evidence, very, very difficult to pay for an attorney.
Yeah.
Just very, very, very difficult to win your case when you're detained. And then it just wears you down. Instead of waiting, months for your final hearing, a lot of people just decide that, I'm just going to take my voluntary departure or deportation, and I just want to get out of here and go home and be free. If we can get you out from immigration detention, that just really changes everything and improves the possibilities of your case. And one other thing, and I tell a lot of my clients this, is that if we get you out, even if we don't win your case, you can be here in the United States for years and years while you're fighting your case. We'll go to immigration court, it'll be reset a couple of times, and then we go to a final hearing, and maybe we lose that final hearing. We appeal the loss, and then, maybe the appeal takes another year, 2 years. So just winning your bond hearing can buy you, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years in the country. I've still got clients that I got out on bond in like 2012, and we're still waiting for their final immigration hearing date. So well worth the time and effort to try and get out on an immigration bond.
Well, and it also, a lot of times people, they just want to get out and get their life in order before, if they have to take that voluntary departure. It's just, it helps not leave people hanging, and you get to say your goodbyes. And some people are ready to go after they experience detention.
That's a really good point, and that is true. The difference between being deported with just the clothes on your back that you had when you were arrested, and being able to get your life in order before you go, that's also, it's very valuable and very important.
Well, so let's say that I have a friend that gets, he's an immigrant, maybe he overstayed his visa, and he gets arrested and he finds himself in the county jail. What should be the first thing that you do?
Families, they call me after, someone got arrested for a DWI or some kind of assault family violence, or, some kind of possession of marijuana, something like that. And they're in a panic and they're like, get him out, get him out, get him out. And I'm just, wait. That's what I tell them, just wait. Before we get them out of the county jail, before we get them out of the on the criminal offense, the first thing you need to do is send an immigration attorney to the jail to interview that person and to find out what's going to happen when they get to immigration. Then once we go and interview somebody in the county jail, we can determine, are they eligible for bond? Maybe they have a prior deportation. Maybe they have, such a bad criminal history that there's nothing we can do. And if that's the case, we'll tell the family that, this guy, forget about him. They don't even put another dollar into this case. It's not worth it. There's nothing we can do to help him. If there's something we can do, we'll tell you that. We tell you, this guy has got a very good bond chance. Let's get him out on bond from the criminal case. Let's get him over to immigration, and let's file an immigration bond. But so that's the first thing that they need to do when someone is detained is hire an attorney to find out what is going on, to analyze the case, to tell the client and the family what their options are, and what is the likely outcome of immigration court.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that confuses the families a lot is the immigration hold. So they're in a county jail and they say, well, ICE already got them.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they think, well, it's too late. And so we have to explain the hold just means that ICE is saying, hey, if they get out, we're next. We got him next. So you don't actually get to be free. We get to investigate you, and we decide if we're going to deport you or put you in deportation proceedings. And that's why it's important, to also talk to an attorney and sometimes to figure out, is there an immigration hold?
Yeah, and before Trump and now Biden is on the way, sometimes we could get the hold lifted. Sometimes for these last 4 years, we're not able to do that anymore. But now that Biden is coming back and now that immigration is getting new instructions and new orders, sometimes we can communicate with the local ICE people here in Austin and say, hey, this person, is a good person, his family, this is where he's going to be. We can kind of prepare a little packet and potentially get him out without any further detention. But yeah, just because someone has an ICE hold doesn't mean that immigration is going to, pull them right out of the jail. They're not going anywhere until they resolve their criminal case or they are released on bond from their criminal case. So I know no one wants to be in jail, but don't rush, don't panic, and just get the person out. And then they go to immigration. And Diego, how, sometimes they send our clients to who knows what part of the country.
Oh, yeah.
And you know how difficult it is to communicate with people when they're in immigration detention.
Yeah. Yeah. Talked to an attorney who ended up having his clients sent from here to Newark.
Yeah, that's and here we can drive down to the jail and in about an hour and a half, we're able to interview that client, assess the situation, and then communicate to the family much easier than when they're in the South Texas Detention Center in Pearsall, or they're in God knows what other immigration detention center around the country.
All right, so let's say that now I'm in front of an immigration judge and I'm asking for my immigration bond. What do I need to do, or what do I need to prove so that the judge will let me out?
So there's two factors that the judge is going to consider. One is the person a danger to the community, and the other one is the person a flight risk. So the first thing, really, even before that, what we need to tell the immigration judge, the immigration court judge, is who is this person? Because a lot of times identity is not totally, certain. So we need a copy of the passport, a copy of a matricula, a birth certificate, a lot of times work identification, school identification, those types of documents. We need to prove their identity with certainty. And then the other thing that's so important for immigration judges is, where is this person going to live when I let them out? If we cannot show where they're going to live, they have an address, they have, something, proving where they're living and that they're going to be able to go back there, that's, again, a very, very negative factor. We want to be able to prove the address. With regard to danger, it's basically criminal history. How many arrests does this person have? What kind of arrests are they? Do they show that the person is going to be a danger to people or to property? Theft offenses will count against you as a danger to property. So once you build up that criminal history too much, really, we're not magicians. It's tough to overcome a lengthy criminal history.
Yeah. It can be done probably with the right judge, and if you have the right kind of defense, or also if there's some time and space between your arrests and your detention. So yeah, it's always something good to be completely prepared for it. So okay, let's say that I go in front of the judge and. A lot of people know about bonds in criminal proceedings where you can pay 10, 20% to a bondsman and they'll get you out. Or you might get a personal bond with your promise that you're going to go and and if not, you're going to pay that amount. How do immigration bonds, like once the judge gives me a bond, let's say they grant me a $10,000 bond, how do I pay that? Who do I pay it to? And how much of it do I have to pay?
So immigration bonds, I can't remember the last time that we got a bond under $5,000. If you have somebody that's perfect, $5,000 maybe like a tiny bit lower. But recently, most of our clients have a DWI that's pending, that they haven't been convicted yet. They've been arrested for it, but they haven't been convicted, or some kind of like misdemeanor offense where they've been, arrested for it, but they haven't been convicted. And a lot of times we're getting about $7,500, $8,000, $10,000 bonds. And this is for people that have been here for, 15 years, that have, U.S. citizen children in the country, that, very stable. Some of them own their home. Some of them have been in the same apartment for 7 years. And we have letters from their church and from their children's teachers about how they're very good parents and they're very involved parents. And, we have all this good evidence, and we still get, a $10,000 bond. So that's unfortunately, I always tell my clients, I think, $7,500 to $10,000, be prepared to pay that amount when the judge, and unfortunately, immigration, unlike criminal, it's not 10% of the 10,000, it's $10,000.
Yeah.
There are a couple of companies that do immigration bonds, but to be honest, I've never used them. My clients have almost never used them, and they charge extremely, extremely high rates, and they want collateral. They want, it's a really, really difficult and expensive process. And most of our clients just, turn to family and friends, right, to collect the money.
Yeah. Well, and, a lot of it depends on, how good your case is. And a lot of times that means being prepared. And so that's why it's important to speak to somebody as soon as possible, to have an experienced attorney, to get all that paperwork together, that knows how that judge works.
Yeah.
And then to fight as hard as you can. There are times when you think you've got cases that it's not going to be an issue. It's going to be super simple, and it doesn't go the way that you think.
You had a couple of those recently, huh? The two women that we got out recently.
Yeah. So I had two clients that, to call them saints is completely justified. They're women in their 30s, early 30s. They have young U.S. citizen children. And no criminal history. They were pulled over as passengers, and they were arrested as passengers and directly given to ICE.
Likely illegal, right? I mean, that was really an unconstitutional.
Oh, yeah. So the driver did not get a citation, and she did not get arrested. And they ended up sending them to Laredo, because that was the only place that they could hold them at that time. And we got a very tough immigration judge that he got pretty upset because the women admitted that they had vehicles and that they drove on their own to drive their kids to school. And for one of them in particular, he asked her where she was driving all the time. And she is a volunteer for her church, and she would take communion to people in the hospitals or to their homes because of COVID. So she's literally taking salvation to people. And it stopped that line of questioning, but he still gave them a $20,000 and a $25,000 bond.
Yeah.
And that would have been unheard of 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Unfortunately, that's what we've been seeing, over the last 4 years, especially over the last 2 years. Hopefully that'll change, but who knows? And maybe the last thing, it's immigration bond. It's about a 20 to 30-day process to get somebody out of immigration detention. So again, just to for the family, for the person, this is not something that's going to happen overnight. And that's always when the first thing when I go and interview my clients in the jail, the first thing I say is patience. I'm going to need you to have some patience in this case, you know.
That's right.
So,
Well, so again, I'm Diego Nunez. You've been hearing Chito Vela, and we're at Walker Gates Vela. And um, if you have someone who's detained, we do have an 800 number. It's 877-339-1422. So 1422. And then our local Austin number is 512-633-1785. And we take those calls on the weekend, and we try to get to people as soon as possible in order to make sure that they have the best chances that they can to get out on their immigration bond.
absolutely, absolutely. Thank you all for listening, and we post these videos periodically, just trying to inform the public about immigration and the situation and whatnot. And just looking forward to doing some more videos. And I hope y'all enjoyed this one.
All right, if you like it, share it, give it a thumbs up.
Thank y'all. Bye.